Something went a bit skewy when I was trying to start up. Let's just make sure that I'm coming through, shall we? I see a clock counting up on my screen, and if I do this, then I can hear myself. I see a clock counting up on my screen. Yeah, that's me. Awesome. Hello. Welcome back. Part 2. Duskmourn Part 2. Oh. Go away, everybody. Where were we? I can't even remember where we... Oh, God. It's crashed while I've been away. Have to reboot it. We missed something yesterday, didn't we? Yes, we did. We missed... Oh, I can't even remember. Crackling. Can't remember. I'm going to have to go and look what it is. But, yes, there was a good Colours of Magic card that I have been playing with and against today that we somehow managed to go past completely. It's the one... I'll get it up on the screen since I'm here. Cards, Duskmourn, name... Not the... Oh, no, we'll have the full art as well. Yes, we'll have the full art. Everything. And it's called... something with a cracked skull. There we go. Yeah, and we went back and did that. I don't remember what I said about this yesterday. I'm sure what I said to start with was that this is not a good enough removal for basic play. But I think I even went back and said something about Colours of Magic at the end, didn't I? Still didn't really flag it up. This is actually a pretty nasty card, to be honest. Even on the face of it, we've got... your opponent discards 2 non-land cards without mana from hand, which is basically 2 cards in Colours of Magic. And then you should get a creature destruction out of it as well. It's only 2 shields, but it only has to last a little bit of time. So in terms of pure card advantage, you should be getting 3 for 1. You know? Now, you know, cards kind of come cheaply in Colours of Magic, you know. I mean, we've certainly had cards before that there's aggressive something or other that just makes you discard 2 cards. That's generally been a bit rubbish. The thing is, when you combine this with Painful Quandary, all of a sudden you hit a threshold where you are making your opponent discard too much. Picture the scene. I think this might have happened to me today. I've certainly been playing against those two cards, but picture the scene. Your opponent on turn 1 plays a Cracked Skull and a Painful Quandary. Yeah? So you discard the 2 cards you have in your hand. I mean, that's true, you know, Greg doesn't go first, you go first. But, you know, if you do it against Greg, you make him discard 2 cards. And then even though he's only playing 1 card... yes, even though he's drawing 2 cards, he can only play 1 card of a turn with the Painful Quandary. It is, believe me, just as nasty when Greg does this to you. When he plays the Cracked Skull and the Painful Quandary, it becomes difficult to play around. Not least because this is a support. So if Greg plays a Painful Quandary and a Cracked Skull, and you've got a support removal, your support removal might hit the Cracked Skull, which is no fucking use to anybody, is it? Because if that Painful Quandary stays in play, there's trouble. So in short, number 1, this is a pretty good card for Colours of Magic. And number 2, play with some stuff that lets you draw cards. Because you might find yourself up against the wall. I mean... I actually found Colours of Magic a bit of a grind this time around. I fought quite a few black decks that were just absolutely full of control. They were playing, you know, this. They were playing Painful Quandary. They had the Terratide. They have that creature that gives things imminent death, which is a pain. It's not a great creature, but it's a pain. The thing about black at the moment in Colours of Magic is it's very good at control. Not so good at actually attacking and killing you, but very good at control. And I had I had one game where I played 27 cards on the objective. You've only got to hit 10 cards. It cost 11 or more or less on the objective. And I played 27 in one game. And it was just quite simply because all of these black control cards were being thrown at me. 2 of these decks were Nicol Bolas 1. So in addition to killing all of my creatures with his spells, he was killing all of my creatures with his reasonably cheap first ability. So bit of a slog, actually, Colours of Magic at the moment. Play stuff that can draw cards. That's my advice to you. I said yesterday, didn't I, that I don't really like the fact that I don't really like playing Dakon in Colours of Magic because I consider him too good to use up a deck slot for that event. But that is a dangerous event to play at the moment. So I was playing Dakon for most of the event with both nodes. Because that first game where I came up against a Grist and he was playing Cracked Skull and Painful Quandary, and my God, I only got through that one by the skin of my teeth. Really dangerous. Anyway, shall we move on with the actual cards for today? Can anyone remember where we got to? Not that anybody's here. We didn't get to exercise. I don't remember us getting to exercise, did we? Oh, maybe we did get to exercise. I remember fears. Fear of abduction, I remember. I think we started doing the fears, didn't we? I think this is where we were. Yes, that was too expensive, wasn't it? 18 mana. And then we had, yes, rubbish. Fear of burning alive. Creature enters the battlefield, deal 4 damage to your opponent's Planeswalker. Rubbish. When you deal non-combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, delirium. Right, I had my man Lars look into the numbers on delirium. Lars likes to do a lot of kind of simulation about the game and tell me percentages and things. And so I asked him, on a completely random board, what is the chance of delirium triggering? Yeah? So delirium for a single colour, this would be delirium red in this instance, is about 12%. That's kind of rubbish, isn't it? And it does basically double up for 2 colours. We've seen quite a few, well, I've seen some cards in this set that do delirium, say, black or green. They do delirium over 2 different colours. And that doesn't really help. It basically just doubles the percentage. So delirium for a single colour has got about a 12% chance of triggering. That's rubbish. Delirium for 2 colours, about a 24% chance of triggering. That's still pretty rubbish, isn't it? You know? And especially with weak-ass abilities like this one, deal X damage to target opposing creature, X is this creature's base power. It's bad, isn't it? So Lars, he asked me at the time, he said, how often would you like delirium to trigger, you know? I think 50% is probably about right, isn't it? You'd prefer delirium to trigger about 50%. I can't remember if I said this yesterday or in part 1, but I would probably have given it a number. I would have called it delirium X. Rather than delirium always triggering on 5, I would have had it so you could change the number and have like delirium 7 or delirium 8. And that way you could give average percentage chances of of things happening that are much higher than that. You know, get up to delirium 6, delirium 7. You'd think delirium 7 would be about 50%, wouldn't you? Since 7 is like the average number of tokens you get out of an Elspeth for the loyalty gems. But anyway, yes, delirium 5 does not trigger enough. Shall we move on? We've spent enough time on that already. Oh, hello. I remember this guy and its rubbishness. So, obviously we got there. Fear of failed tests, I remember that. Fear of falling, fear of immobility, fear of import. Well, let's start here, because I don't remember these. When this creature enters the battlefield, target opposing creature against stun counter 2. Bit expensive, innit? 16 mana, 4/4. Way too expensive. Fear of Imposters. When this creature enters the battlefield, drain 12 mana from your opponent's hand. I don't think we care. Eerie. What have we got? 2/2 lifelink. Eerie. If this card is in your graveyard, return it to your hand. We might prefer it if it returned to play. This is not a Blood Operative, is it? Blood Operative 5/3 lifelink returns to play every time you do a Surveil. That was quite a powerful card, wasn't it? This one only comes back to your hand when you play an enchantment creature or enchantment support or an aura, or when you unlock a room. Apparently there's a sound effect. I'm told if you ever play with the sound effects on, there's a sound effect for Eerie. Gideon mentioned it on the Discord earlier. Hello, Gideon. But since I never play with the sounds on, how would I ever know? Does anyone play with the sounds on? I mean, we all turn the music off, sure. But I think we probably all turn the sounds off as well, don't we? I used to play with the sounds on, and then I didn't. And I haven't for many years now, I think. Anyway, I don't think this is any good. Surely that's no good. I can't imagine that being a good card. Fear of Isolation. When this creature enters the battlefield, return a support card you control at random. If you do, this creature gets +2/+3. Absolutely not interesting enough. Not interesting enough at all. When this creature leaves the battlefield, it's not even going to do that, is it? It's just going to sit there as a 1/1. He's walking past your opponent's creatures because creatures don't block. And that's just god-awful. We move on. Fear of Missing Out. Now, this one was... Fibblethip had this one, didn't he? And it almost looked good, but unfortunately, it's got Delirium, doesn't it? When this creature enters the battlefield or attacks, your opponent loses 6 life. So you've got a 10 mana here that's attacking for basically 8 damage a turn. That's already putting it somewhere near high shit tier, you know. And then you've got Delirium. Target creature gains stun counter 1. Now you've got to assume that that Delirium is when it enters the battlefield or attacks, haven't you? That's basically the only way you can parse that card. Yeah? Because that's a trigger. Yeah? So it has to be referring to when this creature enters the battlefield or attacks. So it's going to do that every turn, but only on Delirium, which means it's going to trigger 12% of the time, which means it's rubbish. Yeah? So even though it's stunning a creature, every single trigger, oh no, it's not. It's only doing on an 1/8 of them. So, and then weirdly it gets double strike, even though most of the damage it's doing is from its triggered ability. So, you know, if that had just stunned a creature every single turn, we could have really talked about that creature, couldn't we? I mean, it would probably have been too good if it had stunned a creature every single turn, would it? Would it have been too good? I mean, it's still not as good as Rakdos, for God's sake. No, it probably wouldn't have been too good if it stunned a creature every single turn. But it doesn't, so we move on. Fear of Sleep Paralysis. Right. There is a possibility that this is going to be pretty good because this does the eerie thing, yeah? Whenever an enchantment creature or enchantment support comes into play, it is blue. So it is going to trigger off time bubbles. So maybe this will be really, really irritating with Dad Fairy. Like really good and broken? I don't know, but certainly really irritating. Oh, hello, Madren. Are you in? Hello, welcome in. I just noticed Madren in the chat. Delirium is bad, he says, but at some point you will face a game where Greg triggers it non-stop for like 5 consecutive turns. That is true, to be very honest. That will happen. It is one of those things. You know, there are things that are better in Greg's hands than in your hands. Selvala is a big one for me at the moment. I like Selva, don't get me wrong. Converting 7 gems, that's pretty decent, isn't it? But always seems to work out better for Greg when Greg's playing it than when I do for some reason. Anyway, Fear of Sleep Paralysis, yes. I think rather than saying it's great, I just think it's going to be really irritating. I do think if it does trigger like I think it does, of time bubbles, I think Dad Fairies are going to be playing with it, and it's just going to lock down the hell out of your creatures. Possibly even on turns when you kill it. You know what I mean? It probably, possibly is even going to do some things when you, excuse me, when it gets played and you kill it as soon as possible. Maybe it will still lock down a creature for 3 turns. So I don't know. I can definitely imagine. I don't play Dad Fairy a lot, but I can definitely imagine coming up against this thing. Not a chase card. Watch out for it though. It's going to be irritating, I think. Fear of Surveillance. When this creature attacks, surveil 1, go away. Fear of the Dark. When this creature attacks, 15 mana 5/5. If your opponent doesn't control a Glimmer card, right? Probably doesn't. First Strike and Death Touch. Right. Give it First Strike and Death Touch. How about that? Why not just give it First Strike, and while you're at it, make it a lot smaller. And in fact, Death Touch and First Strike don't really combo together, do they? So give it something like Vigilance and First Strike, or Death Touch and Berserker. You know, use your imagination and make a card that's actually good, and don't just. It's the Commoner's Cup again, isn't it? This is a Commoner's Cup card. Good. Well, I mean, it's not a Commoner's Cup card because clearly we don't play with the shit ones like that. Final Vengeance. Exile the first opposing creature. Then destroy a creature or support card you control at random. Oh, that was shaping up to be good, wasn't it? Until it said you control. Why would I want to do that? It costs 10 mana. You could just kill things for 8 mana. Can't you? Destroy target creature for 8 mana at the moment. Why would I want to kill my own stuff? When this creature attacks, your first creature without Death Touch gains Death Touch. Right. Well, now that's singularly interesting. You can't just put Death Touch on things, because Death Touch on its own does nothing. Here is another one of those lands that I don't like because it triggers on Activate 2. And Activate 2 is a crappy number. Oh, that one's only got 2 shields. Did the other one only have 2 shields as well? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Not that one. No. Do 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 do. So I'm just singing Ebony and Ivory in the background there while I look for that other land. It did. It only had 2 shield. Right, so not only is it shit, it's also, and additionally, shit. Thanks. Flood Pit's Drowner. 6 mana. When this creature enters the battlefield, target opposing creature gains stun counter 1. Right. So how's that different from it just disabling it to the beginning of your next turn? It still doesn't attack for 1 turn, does it? I mean, who cares, really? It's whatever it is. There's not much point thinking hard about the ways in which it's bad, is it? So let's move on to. I mean, this card might be good. Look at it. All of the things we can see on this card. It's alive with possibility at the moment. It's not shit yet. It's not going to be shit until we click on the hyperlink and find out what the Formless Gargantua thing does. What is this? Is that Jumpstart? It bloody is. Now, Jumpstart is actually quite a good mechanic, isn't it? Even though there's only been 1.5 good Jumpstart cards in the past. There's been Beacon Bolt and that blue thing that copies your own creatures. I'm not saying it's good. That's why it's the half. Beacon Bolt is obviously great. But given that there could be good Jumpstart cards, maybe this is one. Well, this is exciting, isn't it? Sorry, just clicked off it at random. Buried. Yeah, Buried is just. I think Buried is just on all Jumpstart cards now, isn't it? They fixed it. So let's have a look and see what we get. This is a Changeling, right? When this creature enters the battlefield, it gets +X/+X. Well, I would have thought so, it only being a 1/1. X is 4 times the number of land cards you control, including their reinforcements. Right. is that exciting. Not really, it's just large, isn't it? I mean, I suppose it does have Jumpstart, so you can cast it from the graveyard. It seems unlikely that this is exciting. I mean, Grist doesn't care. Grist can cast Galters from the bloody graveyard. Why does Grist need like a 9/9 or a 13/13 to come back from the graveyard when she can put a Galter into play? And it doesn't do anything interesting like lifelink, does it? That would be the thing that would probably make you sit up, putting an enormous lifelink creature in. You know, it's just a fat thing. And you know, I suppose technically you get 2 copies of it because you can cast it once and then cast it from the graveyard as well. But you're paying for it if you do that. And I can't get excited about this. I can't get excited about this. There are a bunch of good lands at the moment. I'm usually playing, in all my standard decks right now, I'm usually playing Swarmyard and Demolition Field and Desert. So that's 3 really good lands. Only 2 of those are completely broken. Swarmyard is not completely broken. Swarmyard's just a little bit above the curve. Yeah? So that would be giving me 13/13s, but I really don't think I'm going to be playing this when I can be playing Archangel Elspeth. Yeah? Doesn't block. It's the fact that it's just a body that makes me hate that card. Your first creature gets +3/+3 and trample, right? That can fuck off, obviously. When this creature enters the battlefield, target creature you control is +2/+4 until end of turn, right? Yes, this is they're all like this. All of the common cards are like this. Why do you want to play them in the Commoners' Cup? Friendly Teddy, hello. Oh, he's got spider eyes. He is freaky, isn't he? He doesn't look friendly at all. What do you like, Friendly Teddy? Not even slightly friendly. When this creature dies, draw a card, then your opponent draws a card. Uninteresting. Funeral Room. Right, here we go. Let's have a Mythic Room. Now, we know that we all know that I hate rooms. I won't be talking about how much I hate the design of rooms. We're just going to focus on the fact that because you do double them up, which is shit, but because you do double them up, they've got a higher ceiling of power. So there's a possibility that we're going to come across a really amazing room. Is it this one? When a creature dies, you gain 8 life, your opponent loses 8 life. Right, that's not particularly interesting. And the other side says, when this support enters the board, return each creature card from your graveyard to play under your control. Okay. We can definitely talk about that, can't we? For 20 mana, every single creature card from your graveyard back into play. And then it's got this weird B-side, which is basically kind of shit. I mean, you see the synergy that Clive has built into that, yeah? He's excited about that. Oh, yeah, when I get like 60 creatures back out of my graveyard, oh, yeah, it all triggers that many times. But really, all the power is coming from just putting tons and tons of creatures into play, isn't it? Am I going to be playing with it? Well, I don't know, but it's obviously good, isn't it? I don't usually play with a huge number of creatures. Grist certainly likes to play with, a certain number of creatures and is good at dropping things in the graveyard. I mean, sure, she gets some of them out herself, but, especially if she's playing with Gather the Pack. In fact, since Mad Wren's here, Gather the Pack and Demonic Tutor, maybe. Thanks for that little bit of tech. Very cool. Grist can certainly be putting more creatures in the graveyard than her first ability is digging out again. And this is going to dig all of them out. Yeah, watch out for this one. The B-side looks kind of irrelevant, but it might even be the type of thing that, you're winning the game so hard that you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to cast the B-side for a bit. But, well, really it's the A-side, isn't it? That's the irrelevant one. The B-side is Awakening Hall. But, yeah, looks good. Looks good. Get out. Get out. Drain 16 mana from your opponent's hand. Rubbish. Return a support card you control to your hand at random. Right. Why would I want to do any of those things? Fair enough. Ghost Vacuum. Well, I've got this. I looked at playing Ghost Vacuum in Colours of Magic today because it is a rare that costs 11 mana. Activate 2 is obviously rubbish. And that's the thing that put me off it, really. You know, it's like, it's all very well saying that it sits in play and just gets better and better and better and better, and it's quite easy to exile cards, especially in Colours of Magic. But if it gets shot, it goes back to level 1 again, doesn't it, when you put a new one out? So, yes, I looked at it, and I had a think about it, and I thought, no. Ghostly Dancers. When this creature enters the battlefield, return the first enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, we don't really like hand. We would have liked play. They can't win, though, can they? Webcore, they can't win. If it had been play, I would have been like, oh, that's too good, isn't it? Maybe it wouldn't have been. We'll see. Graveyard to your hand. Right, not particularly interesting. Then, if you control a room card, a random room support without the unlocked emblem gains the unlocked emblem. Right, that's a really interesting effect that should have been on a card that's better than a 13 mana 2/5, isn't it? Yeah? A creature that just unlocks one of your rooms, because as we've seen, we've got some expensive room costs. You know, that red one, I can't remember, that was like 14 on one side and 20 on the other side, wasn't it? So I'm hoping we'll see this effect again somewhere else. We should definitely see an effect that unlocks rooms on a good card and not a shit card. This looks shit though. So we get an enchantment, we unlock a room, and we also, for Eerie, we create 2 white spirit tokens, which I'm not excited by that. Am I excited by that? No, I'm not excited by that. You know, Pajami, he's white, he's creating things, isn't he? But yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, let's see that effect somewhere else. Ghostly Keybearer. When this creature deals combat damage. Oh, well, here you go. And again, I mean, this is worse than that one. This one at least triggers. Oh, no, I mean, this one doesn't even look at it because of the way they've done it with the then, haven't they? This one isn't even going to unlock a room if you don't have an enchantment in your graveyard. But it's still probably better than this one because this one isn't unlocking rooms straight away. You have to actually attack with it. And it's a fucking 12 mana 3/3. This effect needs to go on something good. Put it on like a 6 mana 6/6 with lifelink. Give it some other ability as well. Yeah? I mean, for fuck's sake, we're in the era of power creep now. It's a 6/6 for 6 with lifelink, and it blows up a support every single turn of your opponents. Yeah, and then on top of that, it unlocks a room. Or, you know, if you want to make a balanced version of that, because obviously that card was silly. If you want to make a balanced version of it, put it on a Vanguard. Yeah, I mean, maybe we will see it on a Vanguard. But the thing about Vanguards is that they always have 3 abilities, and I don't think there's ever been a Vanguard where all 3 abilities have been good, have there? Sometimes you have 2 abilities that you use a lot. A lot of the time there's only 1 ability that you give a shit about. So, you know, put the room unlock thing, make that the bad ability on a Vanguard with some other good abilities on it. Don't play with Ghostly Keybearer. Give in to violence. The voices in my head are talking to me again. Your first creature gets +2% lifelink until the beginning of your next turn. You know what this doesn't need to do? It doesn't need to wear off until the beginning of your next turn, does it? That's what that doesn't need to do. Glassworks. When the support enters the board, deal 4 damage to target opposing creature. Right. That's obviously rubbish. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to your opponent's Planeswalker. Wow, not even your opponent's creatures. It's awful. It's really awful. Glimmer Seeker. This one has survival, which is when it attacks. once if you control a glimmer creature. Now, I've not really been paying attention to the glimmers. So shall we just do this? See what we've got. Right, there are 18 glimmers in the entire set. And we've already been through most of it. Oh, there are not 18 glimmers in the entire set. Because look. We were looking at the alt art as well. There are... In fact, they're not even 13 glimmers. Jesus Christ, because look. We've got to be getting... Oh, well, actually, maybe these actually create... Oh, yeah, okay, so we are creating a glimmer token there. This does create a glimmer token. This does create a... Okay, fair enough. So there are 13. Still, 13's not a fucking lie, is it? Let's go back to... Clear filters. Clear filter. Come on, start working again. Thank you. Ah. Bing. Bing. Glimmer thingy. Glimmer Seeker. Right, if you control a glimmer creature, draw a card. Otherwise, control create a glimmer token. It's a 1/1. Quite obviously not powerful enough. Draw 2 cards, create a glimmer token. Right. 6 mana is too expensive, I think, isn't it? I mean, certainly all the legacy effects that do this are costing about 4 mana. You know, people play with cheap spells that draw... Oh, hi, Shmara. Welcome into the chat. People play in Legacy with cheap spells that draw 2 cards, but they usually cost 4 mana and not 6 mana, don't they? Do we have combo in Standard? It feels a little unusual to not have combo. I mean, we didn't really have combo in the last Standard either, did we? You know, like before that we had things like Song of Creation and Wizard Class. That was quite a long time ago, wasn't it, when we had those things? We haven't really had combo in Standard for quite some time. Not for lack of trying, I think, because, you know, Webcore started making things like Galta and Tempt with Discovery. And Case of the Ransack Lab was obviously an attempt to get a combo archetype on the go, although it didn't work. Yeah, they do. They are trying. Like, you know, Goz is always looking at cards and saying, well, this might be a combo engine. And then, you know, it never seems to really break through into Standard, does it? So in conclusion, this is too bad for Legacy and there's nothing to put it in Standard. We move on. Glimmer Light. When this support enters the board to create a 1/1, when a Glimmer creature attacks, +1/+1, it's rubbish. Here's another one of those rubbish lands. What a shame. What a shame. It affects me deeply emotionally when they make lands that are bad. I don't like that. Glimmer. Madran says Glimmer is primarily to trigger Eerie. I mean, it probably is in paper, because they are enchantments. Yeah, I see what you mean there. But it probably is in paper, but they really don't seem to have done much with it, don't they, in MTGPQ. Not good on picking up the design elements that have been woven into paper. Discard a card, then draw a card. Right, this is a really bad start for 7 mana, isn't it? If the discarded card is red, deal 4 damage to any opposing. Just shitty. When this support enters the board, create a Glimmer token for 10 mana. 10 mana, you get a 1/1. I mean, that's spectacularly bad by anyone's fucking standards. Let's have a look at the other side. When the support enters the board, your creatures get +1/+1. I mean, what the living fuck? Remember, no thought goes into common cards. They just exist to stop you opening rares. That's all they're there for. Oops, I closed the thing. Was that the grand entranceway? Yes, it was. Grasping Longneck. When this creature dies, you gain 5 life. Garbage. Greenhouse. At the beginning of your turn, convert a bunch of gems. Yes, here we go. Beginning of your turn, convert a gem. What, just one? No. Convert a gem to one of the colours of the first coloured cards in your hand. No, we can't do that for 9 mana. Nissa's Pilgrimage costs 3 and converts 2 gems. And you don't need to have a card in your hand that might be the wrong colour and might be colourless. Why does this cost 9? Oh, because Steve, it's on a room, and because rooms are really great because you can have 2 of them in play. Let's see what's on the other side. When this support enters the board, destroy the top 4 cards of your library, then return 2 random non-spell cards from your graveyard. It's just so many words. I mean, strictly speaking, all the words on that side are the same as the words on that side, aren't there? But so many words and for no living purpose. It's just another common that exists to stop you opening rares. Eerie Creature Gremlin. Now, Gremlins are 2/2, aren't they? And they are not enchantments like things are. I suppose they couldn't be, could they? Eerie? We weren't creating glimmers with Eerie, were we? No, we were creating glimmers, right. They're smart enough not to do that. Because if you had an Eerie effect that created a glimmer, it would trigger itself, wouldn't it? I suppose Eerie... Does Eerie only trigger a certain number of times? No, it doesn't necessarily trigger a certain number of times. Watch out for that. They might have done that by accident. So this one is creating a 2/2. Yeah. This might even be mid-shit. No, it's not mid-shit tier, is it? Because you have to actually find the Eerie. No, it's just garbage. Grievous Wound. Now, they're selling this one, aren't they? When your opponent gains life, your opponent loses X life. X is equal to the amount of life that player gained times 2. Then players can't gain life until end of turn. Right, I mean, this is very uninteresting, isn't it? Because it's 18 mana and it's got 2 shields. So, I mean, we have an event coming up in which players are probably going to be wanting to gain life. But, anyone who's not playing with anything that doesn't let them wipe supports off the board deserves everything they get. Sorry. So, no, we don't like Grievous Wound. Growing Dread we have here. When the support ends the board, Manifest Dread, right? So that is a 8 mana 2/2. When you manifest, right, that's when you flip the token. Yeah, okay. Your first creature gets +1/+1. Right. And it's got Flash! Woohoo! A hand that feeds. That is, yeah, scary hand. It's got too many fingers. They did that with AI, didn't they? Threshold 3? What a strange thing to just suddenly appear in the middle of nowhere. Threshold 3. When this creature attacks, this creature gets +2/+0 and gains Menace. You've got to have 3 copies in this to make this a 4/2. Just another common. Only 11 mana. Ping, ping, ping. Colours of Magic alert goes off. When this creature attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+0. Then that creature gets prevent damage until end of turn. It's not good enough, is it? Nope. Sorry, not even for Colours of Magic. Haunted Screen. At the beginning of your turn, convert 2 gems to white or black. That's not powerful enough for 12, is it? We've got a land here that's, better than the actual lands that with Activate 2 on them. But it's 12 mana, it's 2 shields, it's only 2 conversion, it's into 2 different colours. It's a litany, it's a list of all the things you don't want on a land, isn't it? And then to cap it all off, we've got Activate 1 on the end, haven't we? I mean, whoop-de-doo, +6/+6, those are quite large numbers, aren't they? This creature dies, return the first card from your exile to your hand. Well, that's a bit weird. We've had colourless spirit tokens before, and they haven't done that, have they? I would have expected the colourless spirit token. What's his name? Ugin makes some colourless spirit tokens, doesn't he? I would have expected them to be the same. So even though +6/+6 is nice and it's permanent, everything about the card is bad. Hauntwood's Shrieker. Come on, let's have something good. When this creature attacks, Manifest Dread, right? So it's a 10 mana 3/3. It's making a 2/2 every turn. Okay, so we're already talking high shit tier, but it doesn't seem like it's going to get much better than that. When a creature dies for the first time, all cards in your hand gain 4 mana. All cards in your hand gain 4 mana. So we manifest a card. Yeah. We attack with this, we get a 2/2. Which we can't use straight away because it's an activated ability. Then the next turn we can activate the ability. Yeah. Drain 8 mana from our hand. Yeah. Pick one of the first 2 cards in the library. If it's a non-spell card, it gains 12 mana, and then all the cards in your hand gain 4 mana. Now, the way that it's worded, the card that you fetch probably isn't going to gain the 4 mana as well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is just a high shit tier card, isn't it? And nothing better than that. It's low power, isn't it? Don't like it. Don't like it. Hedge Shredder. I mean, what the hell is going on there? It's a very dangerous lawnmower, whatever the hell it is. Right, what have we got? When this support enters the board, your first creature gets +5/+5 permanently. When your first creature attacks, destroy the top 2 cards of your library. We don't care. Then, if a land, beast, or human entered your graveyard, put that card into play under your control. Land, beast, or human. So, I mean, we're in Mana Filler Giver realms here, aren't we? But I don't think you're especially, even if you cram your deck full of it, I'm not sure you're especially likely in 2 cards to get a land, a beast, or a human. Like I say, I can see myself playing with 3 lands, definitely. I could imagine there being 2 beasts or humans. So maybe half my deck. I can't actually think of a beast or human that's like proper top tier. Who's that in? The Hunter. Hello, welcome in. I'm getting loads of people in the stream tonight. Hello, people. So, yes, but I can't actually, think of actual beasts or humans that are actually top tier. And I'm not playing with just something that's just a little bit good when there are actually broken cards like Dragonhawk out there. Maybe Dragonhawk's a beast, who knows? So, yeah, I think there are going to be better mana filler givers than this one, I mean, watch out for it. If there happen to be good beasts and humans, watch out for it. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find a better mana filler giver than this one. We move on. Horrid Vigor. Target creature gets Death Touch, Defender, and Prevent Damage. Now, they've actually thought about that, haven't they? Yeah? Death Touch, Defender, and Prevent Damage. It's got Flash, and there's kind of even a reason for that. It having Flash. The problem is it costs 13 mana. Yeah? And the problem also is, really, that you need a creature in play already, Why not have a creature with Flash that has Death Touch, Defender, and Prevent Damage? And then, while you're at it, why not just play with Deem Inferior? We move on. House Cartographer. Pick one of the first 2 cards of your library, fetch that card and destroy the others. It does not get mana, and therefore we don't care. There's another rubbish land. Impossible Inferno. Deals 6 damage to target creature. Yeah, we don't like damage. There's some damage coming up, damage fans. I happen to know there's a damage spell coming up that damage fans will like. It's not this one, though. Exile top card of your library. Threshold 3. I feel like they've done the same thing with Threshold that they did with Delirium. They saw it written on other cards. They assumed, oh, that must trigger and be good. If another development team have written these words on a card, that must mean that they're relevant. No! Learn what Octagon were like and why they were a shower of bastards. First to 10 die. Infernal Phantom. Eerie, this card gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Okay. When this creature dies, deal X damage. I'm not excited. What's the thing? The Magma Pummeler? That was better than this, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty sure. Don't like that. Whatever it is. Innocuous Rat. When it dies, manifest dread. Crap. Inquisitive Glimmer. Here's another one of those glimmers. Reduce the cost of enchantment cards in your hand by 1. Ooh. Insidious Fungus. You'd think that would be more fun to say, but I've just said it and I can tell you it's not, actually. It's not as good as Drooling Grudian. Try it yourself. Drooling Grudian. It's really fun to say that. Insidious Fungus actually doesn't really work, actually. When this creature dies, there's too much of this going on when this creature dies. I mean, obviously in paper, they wanted to put a graveyard theme into the set. And they've just forgotten, carting these cards over to Magic Puzzle Quest. They've just forgotten that these creatures don't block, do they? Exile an opposing artifact or enchantment card, draw a card. Just absolute crap, you know? And even if it did block, even if it had Defender, it would still be garbage, wouldn't it? Just no, stop. When a room card you control is this set just terrible? Have we seen anything? The Hunter says, I love the Eerie icon. That is the one thing, my one takeaway from this set is that the Eerie icon, let's just go back and look at it in all its glory. The Eerie icon is in fact absolutely fantastic, yes. I mean, I do like the aesthetic of it, the set generally. But that's all Wizards of the Coast. The thing that I don't think Wizards of the Coast will have had anything to do with that Eerie icon. That is all Webcore. And kudos to Webcore for that one small thing. Where were we? Intruding Soul Rager. When a room card you control leaves the battlefield. Ugh. I mean, obviously shit. Irreverent Gremlin. Oh, he's got a key. I'm seeing a lot of keys around in the artwork. I noticed one of these earlier on the Glimmery. That's too far away. I can't be bothered. But he's got a key as well. But I'm scanning through the card and I notice it doesn't actually unlock anything. I wonder if it does in paper. When a creature with base power 2 or less enters the battlefield or is reinforced, discard a card, then draw a card. Right, well, just draw a card. Just draw. Oh, and that's it. I was expecting to have some more on the bottom, but the more is this effect can only trigger once a turn. Garbage! Jump scare. Ah! Did I get you? I couldn't shout any louder than that. I would have absolutely fucked my voice. I've done it. I've done it a mischief anyway, just doing that. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and flying till end of turn. That creature gets a horror subtype for 9 mana. Yeah, fuck off. Keys to the house. More keys, you see. Keys everywhere. I've done it again. I've done it again. I don't mind it as a mechanic. Unlocking rooms as a mechanic, I don't mind it, but they just always write it somewhere terrible. This one says, when the support enters the board, fetch the first land card from your library. Right, it doesn't gain any mana. It costs 5 mana itself. We don't like it. When this support is exiled or destroyed, with its 4 shields, a random room support gains the unlocked emblem. No, it's the worst place to put that. Killer's Mask. Nice. Scary Mask. When this support enters the board, manifest dread. Your first creature gains a menace. Yeah, just rubbish. Kona Rescue Beastie. Oh, now we've seen this. This one got spoiled. Has this got cheaper? I don't remember this being 6 mana. I thought this was about 9 mana when this got spoiled. Because I remember looking at this card when it got spoiled and thinking maybe I won't be able to cast that in a single turn. Am I wrong? Somebody, all you people out there in the chat, go and look up whoever spoiled this card. I think it was Goz, I can't remember. And find out how much it used to cost. Because I don't remember it costing 6, and 6 is quite a nice low number. A lot of people can make 6 mana. It was 6, says Madren. Well, thank you very much. It's just my imagination playing tricks on me. So we've got the survival, which, as we know, is every turn except the turn it comes into play. Unless you happen to give it haste. And, for example, you might give something haste with Domri. Yeah? I play Domri a bit. I don't really use his first ability, though, that might give things haste. I use his second ability, because that's the good one. Tyvar. the Vanguard gives things haste. So it's not completely outside of the realms of possibility that you'll get haste, but it seems unlikely. And then we've got Survival. Fetch the first creature or support card from your library. That card gains half its mana. So, I mean, this is pretty good. The problem with it is that it looks just like Inti, doesn't it? And Inti currently is bugged and has been bugged for the last 3 sets. Is it 3 sets old now? And Webcore just don't care about non-terminal bugs, do they? Couldn't give a shit. So what Inti's doing at the moment is drawing 2 cards. You're discarding a card with Inti, which is, a downside. But you are then drawing a card and then drawing another card and then discovering. Crucially, which means when you discover, you're getting a choice of 4 cards. And then you pick one of them and fill it half full of mana. So this card is definitely worse than Inti, is the thing. Now, Inti is actually really, really fucking good. I have played Inti in Legacy events. Inti is really, really good. I'm not saying it's broken, but it's very powerful and you're doing specific things. But this card, which is less good than Inti, is still pretty good. We've finally managed to escape from high shit tier. This is actually not in shit tier at all, this card. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get as far as my standard decks, though. I don't know. I mean, I will definitely get hold of this, master it midweek, and probably be quite happy with it when I am mastering it. So, yeah, don't mind this card at all. Quite powerful. Let's play a game. I've seen this one already, I think. All opposing creatures get -X, Oh, yes, this is the one that made me think. When I first saw this card, I thought maybe they'd re-engineered Delirium. I thought what they'd actually done was they made a new mechanic, called it Delirium, and hadn't realised there was an old mechanic called Delirium. That is not the case, though. It is the same Delirium. This card is just a little bit confusingly worded. So, all opposing creatures get -X, right? Permanent. Still a bit crap, because it might not actually kill things. I mean, good luck killing 2 Galters with, or even 1 Galter, frankly, with -X. We still don't know what it is, but we'll see. Each player discards the last X cards from their hand. Well, you don't really want that, do you? Yeah, all opposing creatures get -X, and then each player discards X cards. So, I mean, you've got to imagine there's a fair chance of it being all of the cards. But we don't know yet, because it's Delirium, innit? You gain X life, your opponent loses X life. Right, this is the crucial thing, is what X is. Right? Now, if you don't have Delirium, then X is the number of legendary creatures you control, including your reinforcements. Now, legendary creatures are not likely to be tokens, are they? You can have big stacks of token creatures that will increase the number of reinforcements you have in play. They are very unlikely to be legendary creatures. So that's probably going to be a very, very small number. I mean, I suppose Felix is generating more copies of Felix and maybe also more copies of something else. Are we excited by that? Yeah, if we've got, like, say, a Felix and a Rakdos in play, yeah, and Felix is doubling those up, and he is therefore increasing the number of X on Let's Play a Game. Are we excited by that? Are we excited about the fact that we're going to play the Let's Play a Game card? Or are we excited by the fact that we've got a Felix and a Rakdos attacking every turn? Do you see? So, if you have Delirium, though, which, as you'll remember, is about a 12% chance, so fuck all. X is the number of black gems you matched this turn. Oh, God, not even on the board. Oh, it's just terrible, isn't it? It's just a terrible, terrible card. Do we have, like, a black board sweep? We do, don't we? Don't we have Dutiful something? I'm sure there's a 16 mana actual board sweep. I mean, this does do the thing where it discards cards in both hands, and, maybe you don't mind discarding cards from your own hand. In conclusion, it's rubbish. We move on. Leyline of Hope has got Overflow. When you gain life, your creatures get +1/+1. Overflow gain 10 life. I doubt it. I doubt it. You know, you're playing with Healer of the Pride. You're playing with Elspeth. Are you putting Leyline of Hope into that combo? I don't think you are. I don't think it's good enough to be part of a combo. Leyline of Mutation. Oh, hello, we've got a bunch of Leylines and they're all going to have Overflow. Maybe we'll find a good one. At the beginning of your turn, if you have 15 or more loyalty, right, okay, you might. A random card in your hand gains full mana. Right, we're not gaining a card, but we are putting 4 full mana into it. What do we feel about that? It's a 12 mana and it's 4 shields. Let's read the rest of it. Overflow, if you have 10 or more loyalty, a random card in your hand gains full mana. I mean, I don't know. I don't think... the power of it doesn't look like it's coming in the Overflow, does it? You know, I think most of the time, you know, you'll make choices based on what's on the board, but I think most of the time you're not going to pick the Overflow there, are you? So if you have 15 or more loyalty, a random card in your hand gains full mana. You don't gain a card and give it full mana, but you do get full mana in a card in your hand. Now, what's probably going to happen there is it will pick a completely random card in your hand, so it might pick a card that's full of mana anyway. I feel like it's going to be shit, therefore, as a result. I feel like a lot of the time, it's going to put little dribs of mana into cards that are already full of mana, nearly full of mana, or even 0 mana into cards that have got full mana already. So I feel like it's going to be bad, and I feel like you're going to be going and looking for other mana filler givers. But who knows? Who knows? Definitely something to throw in a midweek deck, play around with, and see if it ends up being good. That's what I'm planning to do. Yeah, my gut instinct says that there are going to be other cards doing better things than what that is doing. Leyline of Resonance. When you cast a I've just realised that everything in this set is an enchantment. This is an enchantment set, isn't it? Which means that my favourite card, Golden Wish, isn't going to be putting any of these things into play because it only does Vanguards and Artifacts. That's a shame, isn't it? So all those massive, massive rooms that I might have wanted to drop with the broken power of Golden Wish, I'm never going to be able to do that. Let's move on anyway. Leyline of Resonance. When you cast a non-copy spell card that targets a creature you control, right? There's a few too many clauses on that. Create a copy of that card in your hand. That copy gains full mana. Right. So we like full mana, but it only copies spells that target creatures you control. So you can't do Deploy the Gatewatch, and you can't do creature kill spells. I mean, what the fuck does that leave you with? What's a good... Anybody, name a good spell card in Standard right now that you want to shoot at one of your own creatures. I don't think another round targets, does it? That's a good spell card in Standard that affects your own creatures. I don't think it targets. I can't think of one. So, given that I can't think of any spells I'd want to do this with, I have to conclude that this is a garbage piece of shit card. We do have an Overflow effect. I forgot to mention this effect can only trigger once per turn. Oh, whoop-de-doo. Overflow, the last spell card in your hand gains half its mana. Doesn't seem powerful enough, does it? You know? When we could be leylining the Leyline of the Guild Pact instead, blowing a bunch of stuff up and gaining loads of mana. Yeah, seems bad, actually. Now, apparently we only have 3 Leylines. They've only given us 3 Leylines. I feel like that was probably a cycle in paper, because those are weird colours as well, aren't they? White, green and red. Black and blue they've left off. Oh, maybe they left off black and blue in paper. Who knows? Lionheart Glimmer. This is a 12 mana 2/5 with ward. Right. Which really begs the question, why would anybody give a shit about having ward on a 12 mana 2/5? Your creatures get +1/+0/+1 until end of turn. Right. Live or Die. Right, I remember this. This is the same as something we've already seen almost. Right, so 14 mana. You may destroy the first opposing creature. If you don't, return the first creature from your graveyard to your battlefield. So you can either destroy one of Greg's creatures, or you can return the first creature from your graveyard to your battlefield. Now, haven't we already had Come Back Wrong, which for 14 mana destroyed a creature and brought back the creature from your graveyard? So why would you then play with the other thing? So we've got finality on this, but I mean, so what? You know, who cares? So yeah, we can either play with half of Come Back Wrong, or we can play with Come Back Wrong. And I, my friends, am not even going to play with Come Back Wrong. So why would I care about Live and Let Die? Sorry. Living Phone is just absolute garbage. I found this earlier looking for cards for Colours of Magic. Just absolute garbage. Yeah. Manifest Dread. When you cast this card, Manifest Dread. I mean, that makes perfect sense. It's a 4 mana 2/2. That's above the curve for Origins commons. I think the problem with Manifest Dread is that 2/2s are just much more relevant in paper, aren't they, than they are in Magic Puzzle Quest, you know? I mean, there's that whole, there's Draft and Sealed where 2/2s, actually are a relevant thing because they block, and they might contribute to the damage dealing that's going on. They might even kill somebody over 10 turns. But no. So I think, copying the Manifest tokens over as 2/2s has kind of killed the mechanic. But what could you do? You can't make them 10/10s, can you? Can't make them 5/5s. Because then everyone just notices, hang on, literally every creature in this game is shit. So, problem of their own making there. Oh, hello, this is Marina Vendrell. Right, now, I have been listening to the podcast. Yes, the story podcast about Magic the Gathering. That's how much I think that having an infinite haunted house is cool. I've been listening to the story-based podcast about Duskmourn, and Tyvar and Zimone, they're wandering around the house on their own. And then there's also the Wanderer and Nico and somebody else, Kaito, that's right. And then Jace turns up and is a prick. Doesn't surprise me in the least. I hate Jace. But yes, Tyvar and Zimone. I fucking love Zimone, by the way. Is she a Planeswalker yet? She needs to be a Planeswalker. I think she's amazing. It's one of my favourite characters ever. They come across, I believe, Marina Mandrell, and she is the girl who lived in the house and who unlocked Valvagoth. Hey, Valvagoth, hang on, is that his name? Valgavoth? Valgavoth, I think it is. He was imprisoned in the house, and she unlocked him with dark magics, and then he took over the entire world. But Valgavoth, he's kind of keeping her alive, like in a little bubble in which she thinks everything's okay. So that's what's going on there. Moving on, 18 mana 3/5, that's not good enough. When this creature enters the battlefield, fetch the first enchantment card from your library. Well, I mean, in this day and age, it could give us full mana in that card, couldn't it? If it's not going to give it a card every single turn and give it full mana, it could at least give us one card and give us full mana. Yeah? Activate 2. Oh, this is bad. I think maybe this set is the Mercadian Masks that we've been... Power creep is absolutely rampant, isn't it? And there's a lot of bad stuff in here, isn't there? And there was nothing that made me want to buy the latest Elite pack. I mean, I get it, you know, that those phenomenalist investigators, whoever they are, you know, where you draw a card and fill it full of mana as effect B. You know the ones I mean. They're all right, but I'm not going to be chasing them. I know some people have said they chase cards, but I'm not going to be chasing them. They're all right. I'll try them when I get them. But there's nothing in the latest Elite pack that makes me want to spend jewels on it. I spent loads of jewels on the Elite packs in Bloomborough. I wanted my Attempt with Bunnies. I wanted some Seasons. I wanted my Swarm Yard. I spent loads of jewels on OTJ. Just loads of broken cards in OTJ. I'm not seeing that density of broken stuff in Duskmourn at the moment. I'm sure I've forgotten a good card here and there that we've had. I'm not going to say it's all been garbage, because I've probably just forgotten something. But there's certainly not a high density of good cards. Activate 2. We're back on Marina Vandrel. Luther Vandross. If you control a room card, your creatures get +X +X. X is the number of support cards you control, including their reinforcements. Then a random room you control gains the unlocked turn. I mean, for a legendary creature that costs 18, that's kind of garbage, isn't it? She fetches an enchantment. You know, make her fetch a room and fill it full of mana. Maybe they were scared of fetching rooms and filling them full of mana because rooms were good. Well, guess what? We've got loads of cards that can fill cards full of mana. Already, we've already got in Dragonhawk, haven't we? People are still playing the infamous Cruel Claw. I'm seeing people playing Dragonhawk and the infamous Cruel Claw. People just love the infamous Cruel Claw. We've got loads of cards that fill cards full of mana. So don't give us a card that just fetches something and then it just sits in our hand like a lump. Terrible. We don't like it. This is Marvin, the murderous mimic. And my God, he is a thing from nightmares, isn't he? No, I think I prefer that picture, actually. 14 mana 2/2 is small. At the beginning of turn, choose target creature. This creature gets +X +X. X is equal to that creature's power. Right. Presumably there's nothing to stop him choosing himself. Yeah, I don't see anything to stop him choosing himself. So if he is the only creature in play, we can still do this. We can still permanently double up his power every turn. And if there happens to be something bigger in play, we can piggyback off that. I mean, it's okay, isn't it? I'm not really excited by it. The thing is, you know, if there is a 5/5 in play, you know, you go, well, I'll have a 5/5 in play, and then he's 7/7, and then again, he's the biggest creature in play again, isn't he? You know, it's like the design seems a bit ropey there, because like he's either going to be selecting himself all the time to double his own power, or he's going to be selecting himself nearly all the time to double his own power. It's okay. I can't get excited. I don't like combo cards, and this is a combo card, really. But it's certainly high shit tier. But I'm not excited. Sorry. Is it better than high shit tier? I mean, I guess. No, let's call it high shit tier. It's allowed to be high shit tier. I'm not having any more than that. Sorry. Meat Locker. When this support enters the board, target creature gets stun counter 2. Yeah. Do you like that? Madren? Madren's been into stun. He's been telling me how he's into stun counters at the moment to deal with all of the bollocks that Grist does. And I know he's been playing with something that has stun counter 3. Do you like stun counter 2, Madren? I don't like stun counter 2. For 10 mana. Seems a bit iffy. Let's see what the other side does. When the support enters the board, discard the last card from your hand, then draw 3 cards. For 15. I mean, that's way overcosted, isn't it? So, yeah. I mean, they're kind of punting the rooms, aren't they? Aren't they punting the rooms? It feels like all the rooms are a bit... The rooms should be... They should be the premier thing. I know they fucked up the design, yeah. But they should be the premier thing in the set. Like, you know, Manifest Dread, they've really fucked that up, you know, and all the glimmers, and Eerie probably has been fucked up as well. It looks fucked up to me. They could really have done something with rooms, you know, and they're just writing these awful, awful words on them. The Meat Hook Massacre 2. I like it. I like that because the Meat Hook Massacre took place on Innistrad, isn't it? You know, but you know, this is like Duskmourn. It's the modern House of Horror, and that's why they're doing a sequel. It makes sense to do a sequel in the TV based poltergeisty House of Horror. Yeah, when the support enters the board, destroy all creatures. We like it. 23 mana. We don't like it. That was a little bit of a roller coaster, wasn't it? When a creature you control dies, return the last creature from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. That creature gets finality. When an opposing creature dies, exile it. Right. I mean, I'm guessing that that happens when you play this card, yeah? So let's say we've both got 2 creatures in play. I'm going to play this for 23 mana. 23 mana is a problem, but you know, there are mana filler givers in the game, so we can circumvent the 23 cost, maybe. We're going to destroy all the creatures. I'm guessing that your 2 creatures, Greg, are going to be exiled by the effect on this card when I play this card, yeah? But my 2 creatures, when they die, I'm immediately going to spring 2 other creatures from my graveyard. Now, they will gain finality, but I don't really care. So for 23 mana, I'm killing your stuff and it's never coming back. And I'm killing my stuff and getting some other stuff back. I mean, the problem is just 23 mana for me, you know? Like, I'm always thinking about when things are going bad, you know? And like, there's a Galter in play and there's a Rakdos in play and I'm worried and they're hitting me every turn and I'm worried and I rip my creature control off the top of the deck and I want it to have as low a cost as possible, and that's why I like Deem Inferior, and that's why I like Push Pull, and that's why I like Requisition Raid. I admit it's a little iffier Requisition Raid if you're pulling it off the top, because sometimes it takes an extra turn of trying to get a Cascade, you know. But 23 mana is a bit too much for me as creature control. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of okay, and maybe some people will like it. You know, oh yeah, people will like it because people will be playing this with their bloody infamous Cruel Claws, won't they? So, but don't chase it. You know, just enjoy it when it turns up. But for me, it's too expensive for it to make it into my standard decks, I think. Miasma Demon, 5/4/14. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may discard the last card in your hand. If you do, all opposing creatures get -2/-2. Right? Can anyone see how to make that card simpler? Much simpler and much better, and yet still shit? I think you all can, can't you? Oh, you're learning well, my disciples, aren't you? We're on a psychic level at the moment. Now, I don't even need to say what's wrong with this card. I just need to, you know, intimate it. And you all go, yes, we understand exactly what you mean, Steve. Either that, or maybe you've got no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're moving on. Midnight Mayhem. Create 3 Gremlin tokens. Oh, now they're 2/2s, aren't they? So we're getting a 6/6 for 10 mana. We're getting a 6/6 lifelink for 10 mana. Why 6/6 lifelink haste? With menace as well, if you like. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's above the curve. Do we care? It gets to be high shit tier. Maybe mid-high shit tier. No, maybe even low-high shit tier, you know? But I'm not sure we care. I mean, you know, in the olden days of playing Nahiri in quick battle, maybe we might have cared about spending 10 mana on a 6/6 haste lifelinker. I really don't think we care about it in this day and age. Make it do some more things. Yeah? Make it blow up some supports as well. We'd like it then, wouldn't it? Imagine this card if it blew up 3 supports like that old Gremlin one did. Yeah? We'd like it then. Yeah? Life-linking Gremlins that blow up a bunch of supports. We need some better support destruction. We need something in between Demolish and Demolition Field. In fact, not even in between Demolish and Demolition Field. In between those fucking awful cards you print that cost 11 and only kill an artifact and Demolition Field. We need something in between those things. Yeah? Make it better. Please God, make this be a good room. I'm so sick of looking at bad rooms. When this support enters the board for 12 mana, create a copy of target non-token creature you control. So I mean, presumably that's going to trigger it, yeah? So if you copy a Galter, it's going to trigger the copy, yeah? Let's assume it does. I mean, it's still not great. It's Quasi-Duplicate, that's the name of it. Yeah, do you remember earlier? You're all paying attention. You were all here earlier, yeah? When I said there was 1.5 good jumpstart cards, and Beacon Bolt was the one, and the card that I couldn't remember the name of was Quasi-Duplicate, which was half a good jumpstart card. Copying your own creatures is just very win more, isn't it? You know? Copying anything, that would be a bit more exciting. Still not exciting enough, probably. Let's see what the other side does. Blimey. Things got exciting there, didn't they? All of a sudden, when we flipped the artwork over, it's just I'm just walking down the hallway. Oh my God! When you cast a creature card, if it doesn't have the knowledge emblem, create a copy of that card in your hand. Well, I mean, I'm sure we've seen this before. I don't play with the Virtue of Knowledge, but I have a theory that this is probably the same card, maybe. So I'm going to cast a creature card. It doesn't have the knowledge emblem, therefore create a copy in my hand. The copy's power and toughness are debuffed into -2/-2, and it gains a knowledge emblem and full mana. Right, -2/-2 isn't bad, is it? I mean, this is 20 mana. This does have the decency to have 5 shields for 20 mana. We had one before, the red one, Warped Space or whatever it was only 2 shields for 20 mana. This is 5 shields for 20 mana. Which, again, just, I don't know, just seems a little bit expensive to me, maybe. I mean, presumably, because this is the other side of it, if I grab this card with a Dragonhawk, it's only going to put 12 mana into it, isn't it? So if I want to flip it over, I'm going to have to find 8 more mana. Poor me! I'm going to have to find 8 more mana from my own matches and things to put it into play. Oh God, I hate having to pay for things. It's rubbish, isn't it? It's great when everything's just free. You just throw loads of things into play. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, we all love it, don't we? Power creep's lovely. But yeah, if you happen to have this in play, then you're doubling up on everything. Nothing wrong with that, is there? So for 12 mana, when you play it, it doubles something. I honestly don't know. It's too expensive. Maybe the Johnnies like this one. Maybe they do. In fact, maybe the Timmies like it. Yeah? It's too expensive for my tastes. I mean, there comes a point. I know that, you know, I've been saying we can pay for things with Dragonhawks and infamous Cruel Claws and Kylox's Volt Striders and other stuff. But there comes a point with those cards where you just stop doing cutesy things and copying things, and you just get something really big and pound Greg in the face with it, you know? So this is probably somebody's favourite card, but it looks too expensive for me. I will probably master it this midweek, and maybe I'll be surprised by it. You know, I mean, I do get a lot of mana. What I find is that Golden Wish, right, generates fuck all mana when you set it off. Obviously, it fetches 2 cards and puts a load of mana into it, but it generates fuck all mana when it actually converts gems, unless you've got a Demolition Field in play, in which case it pretty much fills up your hand with mana. So I will play with this thing midweek, and maybe I will find I am generating 64 mana, yeah? 12 and 20 and 20 and 12, 64. Maybe I will find I'm generating the 64 mana to do crazy things with this. That is a lot of mana, isn't it? 64. But I don't like it. When this support enters the board, convert 3 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. You were so close, weren't you? So close to doing every turn. Yeah, that's what we want to see. That's all we want to see. We wouldn't have even cared if there was another side on this card. If it would have done it. Pump the shields up to 3. Make it cost 6. It's green. Convert 3 every turn. We would have loved it. See what the other side does. When its support enters the board, manifest dread, then that creature gets +3/+3. Yeah. Uninteresting. Most valuable Slayer. Okay. We had Slayers. The word Slayer there just kind of hit me out of the blue, and I'm like, we had Slayers in there? I don't remember seeing Slayers in. I thought it was all Ghostbusters, this set. I didn't think we had Buffy in it as well. Yeah? It's mostly the aesthetic is Scooby-Doo and Ghostbusters, I thought. But apparently we've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer now as well. At the beginning of combat on your turn, type creature you control +1/+9. Boring. Nashi. Right, this is who... somebody was going looking for Nashi. Oh, I can't even... Just this week I've been listening to the story. Was it the Wanderer? Or Kaito? Who knows? Somebody was looking for Nashi in the house anyway. It's a 17 mana 2/2. We don't like those numbers. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, destroy the top X cards of your library. X is creature's power. So I'm hitting my opponent for 2 damage. I'm destroying 2 cards. Right? Then I'm fetching the first enchantment card from my grave. I'm in for 17 mana. Yeah, that's mana filler giver territory, isn't it? We would be expecting it to get at least half mana, but no, it gets nothing. What happens is we fetch the first enchantment. Oh, and it doesn't even pump up if you don't. I mean, this is garbage, isn't it? In this day and age, this is a garbage creature. You know, Inti is doing this kind of thing. Yeah? Inti is a 2/2. He gets +2/+2 every turn. It fetches a card every turn, but he's doing it with Discover, so it fills it half full of mana, and it costs 5. What the fuck is this? What? Nico! Is Nico not a Planeswalker? Nico used to be a Planeswalker. I think there was a thing, wasn't there, on... again, I'm getting some of this from the story that for some reason I have listened to. There was a thing that happened with the war with Phyrexia, and I think a bunch of people lost their sparks. So I guess Nico is not a Planeswalker anymore. At the beginning of your turn, create 4 shard tokens. Now, I get tripped up on this, because I tend to assume that when tokens come into play, they're all going to be different. But maybe they all come into play in one stack. When this supports Gemis Match, gain 3 mana. It's a bit like a Power Stone. When this support is destroyed, Surveil 2, draw a card, and it's got 2 shields. I mean, I don't know, but that, to me, that looks like they're not all going to stack together. Can they just write that on something? Can they give it a keyword, perhaps? Yeah? Unstackable. There you go. That's a good keyword that tells you what it is. Because, I mean, that really looks like it doesn't stack. But I got really tripped up on this with the new Chandra Planeswalker. They didn't look like... I read it and I thought, well, that's really powerful because they don't look like they stack. And everyone said to me, no, obviously those all stack on top of each other. And they were right. They did. But... these ones don't look like they stack, do they? Anyway, it's not exciting, is it? Even if we do get 2 support shields, and when you match them you get 3 mana, I'm not excited by that. Oh, and God, and then we get an Activate 2. What the fuck is going on? I think they did. I think they've realised that they pushed the power level too high, and I think they're really dropping the power level of everything in this set. Exile Target, which, you know, is bad news if they want to try and sell any cards, but good news for the future of the game generally, you know. And let's not forget, there's going to be plenty of players out there who still have a lot of those powerful OTJ cards and Ixalan cards and maybe even some Bloomborough cards to get, you know? So it's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, and of course, PM2 cards as well. I've still got some of the best PM2 cards to get. It's not the worst thing in the world if this set is garbage. This is weird. I'm really rooting for this set to be rubbish now. This is unusual for me, isn't it? Like, if this set is worse than the Brothers' War, I think that might be a really good thing. Wow. So activate 2, exile target creature, return it to the battlefield. Oh, it's right. I've just noticed it's creating 4 shard tokens at the beginning of your turn. Okay, well, I guess that's quite a lot then in that case. I get that's going to produce a certain amount of mana then. I still don't really like it. Return a target creature, return it to the battlefield, right? I mean, that doesn't work on itself, does it? Because it's not generating something when it comes into play. That creature gets +X+X, X the number of shard cards you control, including their reinforcements. Yeah, you'd like, with an exile effect like that, you'd like to have an effect on the card that mattered if you did it to itself. I mean, if you do that to itself here, I mean, you get to pump it up once, obviously, but then the next time you exile it and it comes back, you lost the last lot of pump that you did. So no, don't like it. Don't like it at all. No, which is a high shit tier. I mean, it's whatever it is, it's not good. Nowhere to run. No, I don't know where to run. When this support enters the board, target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. At the end of your turn, what? At the end of your turn, each opposing creature loses hexproof until the beginning of your next turn. At the end of your turn, what even is this? The end of your... This is specifically for people who want to kill hexproof creatures with flash cards. But they hate doing it with cards that don't have flash. At the end of your turn... So during Greg's turn, when the only thing you can do is cast flash cards, that's when they don't have hexproof. I mean, that's spectacular, isn't it? It's a terrible card. And it's just the worst design that I've seen in quite some time. We move on. Oblivious Bookworm. At the end of your turn, Manifest Dread. Again, 15 mana for a 2/3. Then draw a card. That card gains 5 mana. Right. I mean, 15 mana is mana filler giver territory, isn't it? We did have this, didn't we, with MKM? There were lots of cards that were costing about 15 and they were doing investigates, weren't they? And we were like, well, we don't give a shit because, you know, if we're going to get a card every turn, we want to put some mana into it. I think 5 mana into it is not enough, is it? I mean, I guess you'd have to call this high shit tier. I guess you would, because not only it does draw cards and give them mana and manifest dread, but like, you know, Dragonhawk. Omnivorous Flytrap. When this creature enters the battlefield or attacks, double this creature's power or toughness. Right. That's going to trigger 12% of the time. Is that enough? No. So anyone who likes the look of this, go and play with that Marvin thing. That's like a much better version of it. It's only a little bit more expensive. Go and play with that instead. Fuck off. Orphans of the Wheat. Oh, I see. Yeah. Do you see what they've done there? Yeah. He wants you to Malachi. At the beginning of your turn, this creature gets +X/+X until the beginning of your next turn. X the number of creatures and creature reinforcements you control up to 5. Rubbish. 12 mana, lifelink 2/2. No, you see, make it 11. Make it cost a bit more. We'd like some more lifelinkers in Colours of Magic, please. But they all tend to be too small. You know, we don't mind the new one, you know, the Glimmer. That gives you loads of loyalty, even though it is only a 2/1. But yeah, make some bigger lifelinkers, please, for Colours of Magic. We've got a threat problem generally in Colours of Magic. Control cards are really great, and threats are generally really rubbish, apart from Thopters, they're good. Anyway, at the end of your turn, your opponent discards a card. I mean, that's, you know, that's quite good in 2017. we have moved beyond that a little bit. Delirium, your opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Yeah, your opponent discarding 1 single card every turn. We have absolutely moved beyond that, especially on a 12 mana 2/2 body. Overlord of the Baelmerk. Well, this is just a very weird, freaky looking thing. It does look kind of awesome. I like the way it's kind of dancing. It looks quite elegant. For like a weird, freaky thing, right? It does look like it can really cut a rug on the dance floor, doesn't it? Oh, now this has got Impending 5. So, now I was reading Impending earlier today. Impending's a bit weird, actually, because it reduces the cost. I believe, I've never actually played with one of these, but when it comes into your hand, I believe it reduces the cost straight away. So you and me, here in this video, we're going to have to do a bit of maths, right? When this card comes into your hand, its cost is going to get reduced by 3 times 5. Yeah? So it's going to cost 3 mana. That's good, isn't it? I like that. And we'll be able to see that. Presumably in the game, we'll be able to see that. That it's when it comes into your hand, that's a 3 mana. That's nice and cheap, because chances are when you draw that, you're going to be able to play that in a single turn. I've seen some Impending cards, and their cost gets reduced to about 9, which is a little bit irritating, because, you know, you're going to have problems playing that in a single turn when you draw it, and then the next turn the cost is going to get increased, you know. Only by 3, and yes, you'll be able to get scrape 12 mana together over 3 turns. But the cost of this getting reduced down to 3, that seems really good, doesn't it? Because you can almost certainly knock that out in a single turn. However, the cost is going to go down to 3 when you're playing with this, but it's still going to look like it's a 6/6, because if you look at the Impending text, it says, when this card is cast, if its impending value is higher than 0, the card gets -Y/-Y. So it's going to look like a 3 mana 6/6 in your hand. But actually, I think it's going to be a 3 mana. And then when it comes into play, I think it becomes a 2/2. Does it become a 2/2? I think. Because the thing is, when it comes into your hand, yeah, you reduce its cost by X times 3. So it'd be 5 by 3. Yeah. And then reduce the card's impending value. So it reduced the cost down to 3. This is fun, isn't it? This is a really well-designed mechanic. We're all having fun listening to me explain over a period of literally hours how the impending mechanic works. I'm sure they couldn't have thought of a better and simpler way of doing it. So, yeah, the cost is going to go down to 3. Then X is going to be reduced to 4 immediately. So if you cast it on the same turn for 3 mana, it's going to be a 2/2. Yeah. So, don't get excited about it being a 3 mana 6/6, because it's not. It's only a 3 mana 2/2. However, the difference between a 2/2 and a 6/6 is basically fucking nothing anyway. What we care about is the card text. So let's see what we've got. When this creature enters the battlefield or attacks, right, those are words we like. Yeah, none of this survival bollocks. Destroy the top 4 cards of your library. Then, return the first non-avatar creature or Vanguard support card from your graveyard to your hand at the beginning of your turn. Convert 2 gems to black. There we go! This is an actual mana filler giver, isn't it? Yep. Enters the battlefield, destroys the top 4 cards of your library. Return the first non-avatar, so it doesn't do itself, or Vanguard support card from your graveyard to your hand. So, you know, there's a fair chance. You can play with, well, you may be playing with 2 non-avatars in your deck, yeah, and 2 Vanguards in your deck. That's very, very easy to do. So you got 4 out of 10 of the cards in your deck, you know, and you can pump those numbers up, but you might need to, you know, really kind of re-engineer the deck But, I mean, really, this thing really looks like it's got a very good chance of giving you a card for free every single turn, including the turn that it comes into play for 3 mana. We've got a mana filler giver here that doesn't cost 18. It looks like it costs 18. It costs 3 mana. And then to kick it all off, just to keep me happy, they've given it a tiny little land effect at the end. I mean, I don't give a shit about converting 2 gems to... It'll be nice when I get a bit more mana off it. But, I mean, this seems legit, doesn't it? This seems like a chase card, absolutely. Yeah. What more is there to say, you know? Like, the things that it does, yeah, look a little bit worse, don't they? Quite a lot worse, in fact, than Dragonhawk. You know, this is converting 2 gems a turn, and Dragonhawk is blowing up the whole board and doing stuff. And this is dumping things into the graveyard, and it might whiff the first couple of times in doing it, and Dragonhawk is just getting a card. However, this costs 3 mana on the turn that you draw it. Doesn't it? I'm not misunderstanding this, am I? Clearly this is a chase card. Get this thing, right? Wow. I mean, you know, broken and overpowered and bad. There is a bit of a discussion topic going on in the forum at the moment about Grist that I might wade in on at some point. But, you know, as usual, I want to marshal all my thoughts and get everything together. Because I don't think the problem is that Grist is broken in Standard. I think the problem is that Grist and about 20 cards are broken in Standard. And this is another one of those, my friends. Blimey. Oh my God, there's going to be a whole bunch of Overlords. Are they all going to be this good? Holy shit, I think we might have found the good cards in the set, everyone. They've all got impending. Here we go. Right, at least one of them's going to be shit. And historically speaking, it's the red one, isn't it? So this is probably going to be the bad one. Let's see what we've got. Yeah. Yeah. When it enters the battlefield, attack, deal 4 damage to each opposing creature. When this enters the battlefield or attacks, just have free stuff. Just have loads of free stuff all over the place. When this enters the battlefield, attack, deals 4 damage to each opposing creature in your opponent's planeswalker. Let's just do the maths. You draw it, minus 12, 8 mana. So when you draw it, it's an 8 mana 2/2. Yeah. And if you don't play it for 8 mana, which you might not be able to do, it's going to gain 3 and cost 11. I mean, clearly high shit tier. I mean, that's not really over... if you had to pay 20 mana for it, it'd be overcosted. It's not really overcosted if you're paying 8 mana or even 11 mana for it. I mean, I guess we have to push it above high shit tier, don't we? It's a lot worse than this one. But I guess we have to put it above high shit tier, probably. Because I'm very... I have to stop putting everything into high shit tier. I do feel bad about that time I put... Oh, we can maybe... No, yes. Just going through my thought processes in real time here, yes. No, I felt bad about the fact that I put Aklazots into high shit tier. So we created God shit tier specifically for him, didn't we? And even though I don't think he deserves to be in shit tier at all, like, I think this guy probably deserves to be in God shit tier. If he is in shit tier, he's right at the top end of it. What have we got now? Overlord of the Flood Pits. This is the blue one. This is going to be good. This is going to be the good one. I can't imagine it being better than the black one. This is 15. Minus 12. Again, this costs 3 mana on the turn that you play it. When this creature enters the battlefield or attacks, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Those cards gain half their mana, rounded down. I mean, I do kind of want 1 card with full mana more than I want 2 cards with half mana. That said, though, right? That said, I do find myself all of the time playing Chimil with Golden Wish instead of playing Kylox's Vault Strider with Golden Wish. And it's not just because Kylox's Vault Strider's got that really irritating animation on it. It's quite simply because Chimmel is better at finding another copy of Golden Wish. But I am basically there getting 2 cards with half their mana rather than 1 card with full mana. But for 3 mana, I'm not wrong about this, am I? When this card enters your hand, if this card is in your hand, when this card enters your hand, if this card is in your hand, that's what it says, and its impending value is higher than 0, that's right, reduce this card's cost by X until end of turn. Yeah? X is 3 times the card's impending value, and then you don't reduce the impending value until after you've reduced the cost. So 4 times 3 is 12. You draw this, it costs 3 mana. This is sick. I feel like the black one is probably better. We don't like discarding cards, you know. We do end up with the problem, don't we? I mean, I've had this problem with Chimmel quite a lot, that you end up with, you know, most of the cards in your hand having half their mana in them. You might not be able to get around to playing all of them. But, I mean, clearly amazing. You know, if you open this one instead of this one, don't be upset. If you open this one, you can be upset. But if you open the blue or the black one, don't be upset. There's 2 more. Everybody, there's 2 more. Oh my God. What have we got here? Oh, we've seen this one already. Somebody already spoiled this one. Now, this one is really interesting because I don't know what to feel about this one. Let's go through it together. This is 18 mana, minus 12. This is a 6 mana card when it comes into your hand. Again, that's very doable. Slightly less doable than 3 mana. You know, if there's a bad board, slightly less doable, but still very doable. And of course, we don't give a flying monkeys about the power and toughness of the card. That probably makes a real difference in paper, doesn't it? The difference between a 2/2 and a 5/5 is probably absolutely enormous in paper. Here in Magic Puzzle Quest, we couldn't give a shit. Now, when this creature enters the battlefield attack, create 2 everywhere tokens. So, these are land support tokens. They have 1 shield. Obviously, we don't like that. And then at the end of your turn, convert 2 gems to the most present colour on the board. Now, I have on many occasions said that the worst time to be converting gems is at the end of your turn. But we do kind of live in a different world now. This is the thing, you know. So maybe it's time to reappraise things, you know. Like the thing that's made me think of this, obviously, is Selvala. You know, I've had Selvala played against me and come to realise that converting 7 gems is a shitload of gems and quite likely to come up with a cascade, you know. I still think it's something that Greg seems to do better off than I do. But, you know, if this was creating lands that converted at the start of the turn, you know, in this day and age, by the time they got round to triggering, Grist would have just, you know, put a Galter into play, and then that would have triggered the whole board, and then that would have set off about 6 different demolition field activate gems, and it would have blown up all of my land token gems, and then he would have played a Rakdos as well, and then some other stuff, and just fucking won the game, wouldn't he? So, I don't know, you know? In older, slower Magic Puzzle Quest, yes, I want to play lands, and I want to be passing the turn backwards and forwards, and playing a slowly evolving game. The game does not evolve slowly anymore. The game goes bomb, bomb, bomb. That's what the game does now. So, I don't know. Maybe converting the gems at the end of my turn might be a thing we want to do. They only have 1 shield, but we are getting 2 of them. So, I really don't know with this one. is what I've got to say. I've got to play with it, really, to see what I like. I'm sure I'm not going to like it as much as the blue one or the black one. But I'm really going to have to play with this one to find out if I like it in the slightest. There might be some synergy with creating lands, but I really doubt it. You know, we have that jumpstart card. If you want to play the jumpstart card with this, because this is creating land tokens, knock yourself out, enjoy yourself. But this is not Spike World when we start talking about things like that, and that's where I live. And here's the last one. Oh, they have been good, haven't they? What have we got? Oh, well, I mean, this looks shit compared to the other ones. We got 20 mana minus 12. That's 8. 8 mana. And then we're creating 4 white spirit tokens. I mean, you know, yes. God shit tier. Maybe a bit higher than that. But, yeah. I mean, just nothing. Just nothing compared to the 2 good ones, really. Is it? I mean, I'm not sure you're going to be playing it for spirits, are you? I mean, I guess you might be playing it for spirits in Who's the Killer, because let's not forget, it does create those 4 white spirit tokens when it comes into play. You don't have to wait until it attacks. You do have to create 5 spirits, of course, in Who's the Killer, but you get some for free, don't you, when things die. So just creating 4 should be fine, to be perfectly honest. It occurs to me with this impending mechanic, it occurs to me that, like, it's a cost reducer, isn't it? So, like, if I discard 2 cards, yeah, and fill them half full of mana, sorry, draw 2, yeah, I discard a card and then draw 2 cards. Sorry, I'll read what it says and not just make up words. If I discard a card, draw 2 cards and fill them half full of mana, and one of those cards is a Overlord of the Belmerk, surely I'm going to draw that and then put 9 mana into it, and then its cost is going to get reduced to 3. Yeah? So that is going to be something to watch out for. Yeah? Like I say, I'm very fond of playing with Chimil at the moment, and I can well imagine my Chimil putting one of these into my hand and then just paying for it straight away. Because let's not forget, we don't give a shit whether they're 2/2s or 6/6s. Blimey O'Reilly, we had some good stuff there, didn't we? Like I say, there were 2 of them were, you know, flirting with shit tier. Maybe 3 of them, because I've no idea about the green one. But the 2 of them are going to be really, really awesome, aren't they? Oh! How are we doing? 172. Yeah, I was just thinking, let's end on a high note. We always end somewhere terrible, don't we? You know? And I just keep going, hoping I'm going to get a good card, looking for the next mythic. But let's end on a high note today with all those fucking overlords. Yeah. Excited to play with these things. You know, and also they're really bad for the game as well, yeah. Blah-de-blah, swings and roundabouts in it. But thank you, everybody, for being in. I wasn't expecting so, because I really kind of landed this one at the last minute. So I really wasn't expecting so many people to be in live. But thank you for being in and interacting. We will try and get on with part 3, maybe Sunday. What's the day today? Today is Thursday, isn't it? Yes. Watching movies tomorrow. Anyone got any good movies I can watch with Joy tomorrow? Well, we're looking for a horror movie. Leave a comment. Let me know. Maybe Sunday, maybe Saturday, depending on what people have to say about what's the best time for things. But that will presumably be the last one. There will be 100 or so cards to go. That will presumably be the last part. Thank you very much, and I will see you all then. Goodbye.